Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's great recipe on Caribbean Soul Food Duo. And guess who's joining me on the set today? Yay! Honey's here. Hey, baby. So, Babe's gonna help me cook up today's great recipe, which is going to be salmon patties. Now, salmon patties is another great recipe that my grandmother made when I was a little girl. So I'm going to be doing that recipe today, and he's going to help me with that.
Oh, yes.
So let's dig in for our ingredients, and I think you will like this tasty dish. Okay, guys, we're all ready to get started here, and we're gonna get you going with the great ingredients used for this. So with our salmon, what we're gonna do first here, before we start working, we're gonna get our hands washed. So Honey and I are gonna wash our hands really good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice and clean.
We always like to keep our hands washed. Remember, when we start a recipe and when you're cooking, you want to do this throughout the whole cooking process.
Yes.
So no one gets sick.
Mostly when you're dealing with fish, huh?
Yes. Fish and chicken products, you really want to keep your hands washed thoroughly as you're doing the recipe, okay? So now, we're going to start with our great ingredients here. What I have here is I'm going to be using some bell pepper. This is a red bell pepper or orange bell pepper and green bell pepper mixed. And you can see that it's chopped like finely so that when it goes into the patties, it's not too big and kind of bulging out. I have a medium onion. Now, depending on the flavor of onion you want for your patties, you may not want to use a whole medium onion, but you just want to have it chopped up in case. We need salt, we need pepper, and again, I use sea salt, that's my favorite. And I have some breadcrumbs. We also are going to use 2 eggs, and we're going to use some flour. This is about 3 tablespoons of flour. And of course, the main ingredient, Honey opened them for me. Honey, could you pass me those? Mm-hmm. Okay, Honey opened up the salmon. Now, I'm using 2 cans of salmon. And this is a pink salmon. It's a pillow rock salmon. There are different versions of salmon that you can get. That is totally up to you. But this is one that I choose to use, and I've been using this for years. And also, you're going to need gloves because we're going to be doing some mixing. So let's get started. You're going to need a nice medium-sized mixing bowl to get you going. So we'll get started with our cooking process. We like to put our gloves on because we're going to be mixing. Now, when you open your salmon here, you're going to want to drain the juice. And you're just going to drain it in your sink. And actually, Honey, you want to drain this one for me, please?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Would you drain that one? Thank you so much. So Honey's going to drain one for me while I get this drained. And then we're going to dump our salmon into the pan or the bowl. Okay, thank you. And salmon, it has a very loud smell, so you're going to want to try and contain that somewhere around the house in a bag, away from your regular garbage. It's very, very powerful. So you take that for me, Honey. Okay, now when we I need a fork, Honey. Could you give me a fork, please?
You need 2 or 1?
Just one. So we're going to look at our salmon. Inside, you're going to see that inside here there's skin, and we want to take that skin off. We're just going to dump it in the sink. We're going to flush it down. There's skin. That's no good for us. No use for it. It comes off pretty easy. So we're just going to take our fork along, and just go inside of our meat. Take as much of the black skin that we can off. I mean, it looks to me a little unattractive, but I don't know the real reason it's there, but we don't really need to eat it. So now, after we've gotten most of the skin, we're also going to go in and we're going to find the bones. You can see these are bones, and they look with little sharper bones. We're going to take those out too. So as many of the bones as you can, let's pick those out. We want to have nice, clean meat. We don't want to be chopping up on bones and skin. So they all come out pretty easy.
Honey, you want me to crack them eggs?
Oh yes, honey, would you crack the eggs? Yeah, we're gonna add the 2 eggs. So honey's gonna crack the eggs
We'll
for
set
me.
it up for you already.
Okay, sweetheart. That helps me a lot, okay? You know, the cooking process is easier when you have 2 people doing it. So I always appreciate him in the kitchen when I'm making my recipes. His recipes are different than mine, and we actually come together pretty well doing our recipes. But I like to have his help too.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're just gonna look for excess skin. This little black skin right here, it peels off pretty easy.
Oh, okay. You got to take that off?
We take that off. We take that off, and we take all the bones that we can, we can find,
Okay.
and they come out pretty easy.
Is they like fine bones?
Yeah, some of them are fine, and they actually, if you chew these bones, they actually mix up well. It's just that, I don't want to really eat
A lot of
bones.
people don't like that, huh?
No.
Mm.
And there's no really reason to keep them in.
Oh, okay.
So again, we have the black, the black skin there.
Mm-hmm.
We keep finding it here and there. We just take it as we find it.
Honey, this recipe from Alabama or it's down south or just an olden recipe?
Oh, but it's a southern dish. People eat it all over, but
Oh.
I think it came more in the South.
Oh, okay.
And we were a family. My grandmother, we didn't buy a lot of food from the markets, but this was one of the very few things that we bought as far as meat, because we raised our chickens, we raised our hogs,
Oh, that's right.
our cattle. We raised everything.
And then
Our
you,
green vegetables, yeah.
You can fish for your own salmon sometimes.
You can fish for your own salmon.
Oh, okay.
But most of the fish in the town I lived in probably wasn't a salmon.
Oh, okay.
We had more catfish,
Oh, catfish.
that kind of area, yeah.
Mm, perfect.
So we didn't have a lot of that.
Mm.
So we bought things like salmon, this
Like
is
in a can?
yeah, in a can.
Oh, okay. So that,
But my grandmother's grocery bill was pretty cheap because we didn't go to the markets often, because we cooked everything
Okay.
fresh from our gardens
oh,
and
that's
fresh
nice.
from our our own
Mhm.
grown
Garden, yes.
cows and
Oh.
pigs and chickens, and then everything. My uncle had a smokehouse,
Oh.
so in the smokehouse they cured the meat, and they actually put smoke in the house in bins. They made fires and made smoke, and
Wow.
it cured the meat. So we got our meat that way.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I'm gonna rest this down, okay?
Okay, sweetie. Okay, so we got most of our skin. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start our mixing. Actually, we're gonna do a little breaking up of our meat. So you just kind of take your fork, because we're gonna make this into patties. We want to make it nice and easy to combine with our other ingredients. So we just keep, with the fork, you just keep breaking it up as so. And then it's going into a nice patty.
Looks
You
like tuna.
Yeah, it does look like tuna.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're just gonna make it where it blends into a nice patty without big chunks. We don't want big chunks.
Okay.
And we'll find a couple of little bones along the way. We'll get rid of those. Again, if you leave some of the bones, that's totally okay.
So what side dish go with this?
Oh, you can eat this with rice. Oh,
Oh.
my auntie used to call us in the evenings and say, "Kids, I got something for you," and she would have us come, and we would eat salmon patties and rice, and we'd have homemade biscuits and syrup.
Mm.
But you could eat this as a side meat with something like black eyed peas,
Oh, okay.
lima beans, or you can just have it as a dish with a nice. You can put a nice side dip with it.
Okay.
Whatever pairs with fish, you could eat it that way.
Yeah.
You could put it with hot sauce, whatever. Okay?
Yeah, we had
So-
a dish like that.
You did in Cuba?
Yeah.
Cuba has a dish like
Yeah,
this?
it's called arroz con pescado. It's fish with rice. So
Oh.
similar, but ain't no
Okay.
patties.
Arroz,
Arroz
arroz,
pescado.
pescado.
Yes. There you
Oh,
go.
that's a Cuban dish.
Yeah.
And it's like a patty?
No, it's a
Oh,
full
it's,
fish.
oh, it's a fish. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
We
okay,
grill it.
okay,
It's kind of similar to it.
okay,
It's pretty nice. Wow.
okay.
I
Okay,
never had
honey.
no croquette. but wow.
Okay, no croquette? Okay, honey, do me a favor and mix in for me the green and red pepper. You want to take some of that and just put in your,
Dump it?
You can dump. Let's see if we want to take, we'll put all of that. Yeah, we can use all of that. We have a little left.
Onions?
We're gonna take about half of those onions.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to make it too much. And then we'll put some more.
Okay.
And then a little more.
Okay.
So we're kind of eyeballing our ingredients here.
Oh yeah, that's the
Okay.
best way.
And then our eggs. Let's take our eggs. You want to pass me the eggs?
Yeah, I gotta use this real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. That's good. I'll bring them in here. Okay, thank you. Okay.
There you go.
Can you just leave it there? No, you don't want to do it. Right. So just leave it there. Okay. We're gonna pour our eggs over it. So he mixed them so they can blend in quicker than just breaking them inside. And then we're gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. And then we have flour. We said 3 tablespoons of flour.
All right. Yeah, it was.
And then we're gonna eyeball our salt and pepper. Okay. I should use this hand for the salt box. We're gonna eyeball our salt and pepper. Fish has a little salt to it already, so we don't want to make it too salty. And we're gonna put some pepper.
Is salmon a little salty already?
Yeah, salmon has a little salt to it already, so we don't want to over season.
Oh yeah.
But black pepper, you know, you can't really do a lot to mess it up with black pepper.
Right.
So we're gonna take these ingredients and we're gonna mix them together. And then, oh my God, this is gonna be good. Oh my God, this is gonna be so good.
Should I start your grease up?
Well, we're gonna do that in a second. I wanna.
Okay.
Yeah, you wanna start the grease?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hot.
Honey's gonna start the grease. I've taken a skillet and I put about half the skillet. It's a large skillet. It depends on how many patties you make. You're gonna wanna have like cover the salmon patties halfway. So I got him heating up the grease there for me while I mix all these great ingredients.
Honey, I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you gonna make them like hamburger patties?
Yeah, they're gonna be like hamburger patties. Yes.
Very interesting.
They're gonna be like hamburger patties. They're gonna be so good. Oh my God, they're gonna be so good. So we're gonna put some more black pepper because we want them to be nice and
Spicy.
spicy but flavorful. You know, something kids can still eat.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if a lot of kids really like this dish. You know, it's fishy. Kids are not like
Right.
totally into fish like adults are. But if they do eat it, it won't. You know, it won't be too much for them. It's not an overkill.
Oh, okay.
So we've got our eggs here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're stirring this around pretty good.
I see the breadcrumb make it stick, huh? Like
Yeah,
that.
makes
That's
it
the
stick.
secret.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Pretty interesting.
So while this is sitting for a second, we're going to get our grease going, get it nice and hot, and we will be back to show you how we're gonna put them in the skillet, okay? Well, okay guys, now we're going to get our patties ready for the skillet. Now, as I told you earlier, what you're going to want to do is get your skillet going with some nice grease, some good clean grease. And you're gonna wanna put your skillet up to, this is a little less than halfway, but it's a nice amount to cover the patties around the bottom and start to flow the oils or the heat up through the patties. So I have my grease on the stove and it is already hot. I have it on a low to medium heat, and that way when the salmon hits the grease, they start to fry up really nice and kind of seal in all the flavor. And you're going to want to, you know, make your salmon into patties. You're gonna need a couple of spatulas. In this case, I have my red and black spatula. In this house, this is so black, and red is our Caribbean color. So we identify ourselves that way.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna start by doing our patties, and you're going to want to get them nice and flat. You don't want them too thick, because if they're too thick, they don't get really good and cooked inside. So we're gonna wanna make some nice patties. That looks so good already. Just like a hamburger patty, no different. And you see the beautiful colors, the peppers, oh wow,
It
so
looks
nice.
nice, right?
Oh yeah, just like a hamburger, but it's prettier. It almost looks Caribbean. It's got
Yes.
red and green peppers, how beautiful.
That's what I was gonna tell you.
So yeah, so we're gonna fry those up. Our grease, we know is already hot. We start to put the grease, the patty into the grease, and you see how they're frying up already? You're gonna wanna have yourself a dish that you can drain your patties away with to get the grease, the excess away. And I would prefer using a rack over lying them on paper towels because that way your grease does not absorb back into the patty.
No? Okay.
It actually, drains away from the patty.
Oh.
With the paper towel, it kind of just lays there,
So the rack makes it like breathe a little bit.
Yeah, it breathes, yeah.
Okay.
And you're gonna want to be careful when you're using your gloves to put the patties in the grease because the gloves will make contact with the heat.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to have melted latex in your patties. I don't know if they go well together, but
No.
it doesn't sound too good. So these are pretty. We're making them just like nice little patties. Oh,
Cute.
so pretty. So in a nice large skillet like this, you can get about 4 nice sized patties. Now actually these patties, it's so funny. These patties are for my son. My son loves his mama's salmon patties. And he's like, "Mom, could you make me some patties and bring them over?" And I'm the great mom, and I said yes. Today is football night for my grandson, whose game I should be at, but I'm not because I'm making patties for Daddy. But when we make these up, we're gonna go hang at my son's house. And my son is making rice and probably some other surprises that we'll have along with these patties for tonight.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a fun night with the family. And hopefully my grandson teams wins the game. So we're gonna let those cook for a few minutes. And once they cook on one side, you're gonna see them as they start to brown. We're gonna move into to turning them over. So I think I wanna just kinda hang with you guys and just let them cook up for a couple of minutes because I want you to see what they actually look like when you need to turn them. And I wanna tell you how you should be turning them.
So how long does it take to cook each side, huh?
I would say each side takes 2 to 3 minutes. I mean, the very first one that I put in already, it's already looking like it needs some turning or just some checking on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to take my spatulas here. I'm going to lift the spatula, and I'm going to see what it looks like. Oh, it looks so beautiful. Oh, those are gorgeous. Oh, my God.
They look nice.
Oh, I'm putting my foot in these.
Yes, you are.
So somebody's going to be short tonight. I don't think the kids really would like these, so this will be more for the adults tonight. The kids would rather have fast food, of course. So we're going to let that one cook up just a couple of seconds longer, and then here we're going to turn over the patties and let them cook on the other side. And now I want to note that right before we put them in the skillet, I added another egg, which you did not see in the editing process. With the 2 cans of salmon, I started with 2 eggs, but I wanted to get more of a great consistency where they kind of connected, the meat kind of connected together. So I added another egg. So I would suggest using 3 eggs in your 2 cans of salmon patties if you make this recipe. Now we're going to take this, we're going to turn our first patty over and just let you see what it looks like. So beautiful. Oh my God.
Wow.
How pretty.
That is pretty. Wow.
So we're gonna let them just kind of cook up, on a, like I said, a low to medium heat. And I don't know if any of you grew up on salmon patties. I just feel so lucky because when I was a kid, this was like a treat. Where most kids go to McDonald's, when my aunt came to the top of the hill and called all of us when we were playing outside in the evenings after school or in the summer, she would call us and we would just run. She also made things like tea cakes that she would give us as a dessert. One day I'll master that recipe. I don't know when, but I'll try. But when she called us and said, I cooked for you guys and made you something or whatever, we ran to her house and we got our rice and we got our homemade biscuits with syrup. Oh man, and our salmon patty.
Oh, you put syrup on them too?
Oh yeah, you put syrup on the biscuits.
Wow.
The biscuits and the syrup went together.
I didn't know that.
Oh my God, was this a delicious dish. And I miss those good times. I miss those times with my cousins. I grew up in a family environment. I didn't have a lot of friends. I had family, so all my friends were my cousins. But, our family fed us really well. When we were younger, we didn't really appreciate that because we were kids. But, we carried it into our lives now. And I think that's worth something for the heritage and the culture.
Yes, and
You
more
know.
than money, honey.
Yes, and it's so important to know about your culture, you know. And that's what I love about my honey. He loves his Caribbean culture. He loves cooking like his dad, the Cuban style foods. So when he's around, I get fed really, really well.
I love your culture too. I never experienced no. Ooh,
These are
salmon.
good. Look at them.
Wow. Feel like I'm
So-
gonna bite one now.
Yeah, so we're gonna let the other side cook up and get brown.
Okay.
So guys, when this other one cooks up and gets brown, you're gonna wanna have both your sides like this. Don't worry about overcooking them. Once they turn nice and brown, I would suggest, you know, take them out and lie them on a sheet to drain them. Because pretty much the meat is done already. What you're doing is just kind of heating it to a temperature of safety, because it's gonna reach a certain temperature and it just kind of seals in all the juices, but you know for sure that it's really done because you're cooking it at a nice low to medium heat. So stay tuned. We're gonna show you what they look like when we finish up this nice batch. Okay, guys. Now we're gonna do the examining. So I turned them over once more, and look at them. Oh, they're so beautiful there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Oh my God, they are golden brown. We're gonna move them to our draining dish so that we can get rid of the grease.
They look beautiful, honey.
Oh, they look good. Oh my God. Yummy, yummy.
So that's the big fuss about salmon croquette.
Yeah, I made these a little darker.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I made them kind of a golden brown.
Yeah, I like it.
A dark brown. Yes, it is a beautiful. Oh my God. My son is going to be so in love with me. But guess what? After today, my son will never have to worry about mommy making salmon again, because he's going to have this recipe on YouTube. So he's not going to have to worry about me making them again. That's going to be a blessing.
Oh yes.
And my honey's phone is ringing. So honey, you're going to have to let that ring, because right now we're taping, so. Again, we're going to make up some nice patties here. And we're going to finish the process in this skillet with this last 4, or maybe last 3. We probably get 3 out of this.
Wow. Stretches out too.
Yeah. And you can make them smaller. I made them a little bigger, but that's okay. You can make them tiny, tiny. But the smaller ones are actually the croquettes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're making them pretty thin here, so this is good. Again, we want to have our meat, our grease where our meat is cooking up once it falls into the grease.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to put it in there and the grease is not hot, because that causes your meat to absorb the grease without cooking it. And that gives you a greasy taste in meat. Ugh, that's not good. So we're going to do the same steps that we did before. We're going to repeat those, just letting them brown up in our hot grease.
Nice.
And when we brown these on each side, we're gonna brown. We're gonna turn with both spatulas. We're gonna brown that side. We're gonna lie those on our draining rack here, and we will be back to show you what the final delicious dish looks like. I think you're gonna be happy with these. You know, get your pot of rice going, whatever you need to do to spruce it up. Get your canned biscuits if you can't make homemade biscuits. But, you know, do whatever you got to do to make this a great meal for the family. And we'll be back. Okay, guys, there you go. It's your salmon patties. The recipe is all complete. I paired these with some great canned biscuits. I'm going to be adding rice and some syrup. Just like when I was a little girl, I grew up on this great dish, and I absolutely love it. So when you're cooking your salmon, you want to make sure you pay attention to cooking them so they're golden brown on each side. I like mine just a little darker. But I hope you enjoy your recipe. Thank you for tuning in to us. We'll see you again on the Caribbean Soul Food Duo Network. And before you leave us, please like, share, and subscribe to our channels. And remember, we love you.